are there any illnesses in Avallen?
I mean, yes, it's not a utopia. That's a really good question though. Are there specific illnesses? I don't think we haven't defined any yet. So should we do one now? Should
Yeah.
we make an illness in Avalon?
Ooh, that's good. Yeah. So in the rule sets, right, you have different conditions and afflictions, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But
find
so
that.
those are the kind of diseases, but they're not like named because I know you figure that with any kind of pre scientific society. That's not well. I guess not pre scientific. That's not the right way to say it. But
Yeah.
any kind of
Pre-germ theory.
yeah, pre-germ. So thank you. Pre-germ theory, where they think everything's magical. Like they won't necessarily give things like an actual name, like COVID-19 per se or whatever, right? They'll say
Yeah, but I
something more
think
general.
you'd give like if there's common illnesses that have a symptoms though, they describe it a name that
Sure,
like,
sure.
like cold or something like that.
Yeah. So well, in Avalon, then what is there, or in the language, would there be a word for cold? Like, is there a Welsh word for cold for having a cold?
I'm sure there is. I don't know it. I could look it up. But
yeah, because that'd be interesting. Yeah, let's pull it up. Let's see what it is.
Sure. So where are conditions? Yeah. So
I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'm
So
also,
we have a condition called sick. Being sick means you're not at your best. Your body is reacting poorly to something, and you need a rest to feel like yourself again. While sick, you cannot earn edges. Yeah. Jacoby says, I think you need a named illness, like the consumption. Is that that is pretty sick. What is the consumption, Jacoby? Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of down to just like make some law right now. Like there should have been there would be some blight at some point in history, right?
Yeah. Well, consumption, like something like consumption, right, is nowadays it's called tuberculosis, right? That's what consumption was. So the idea is either it'd be easier to make sure that common diseases like the flu, I mean, obviously they'll have different etymologies or whatever, like influenza. That's a what's the etymology of influenza's etymology? The etymology of influenza is from medieval Latin and Italian. So that kind of makes sense. So maybe influenza, the flu, things like that. The good thing is that a lot of disease names come from like Latin. So maybe it could be the Raxians naming a lot of the diseases, right? So we could keep a lot of the same naming conventions.
True. Yeah, we could do. I have this artwork up, not because we're doing Morphin equipment, but because it's a dead guy. That's great. He's got some horses with him as well. Maybe there's a blight here. Yeah, okay. Let's invent well, I mean, there's like germ diseases, and then there's like actual like plagues, and then there's obviously magical nonsense as well. So of course we have the Fiethra, right? Like when the Muckalevy comes, they leave disease everywhere. But let's just make it like a more conventional illness. I think something that's impacted the history or something like that. Some kind of blight in the past or something. Yeah, go on.
Is there anything we mess with the idea of like the other world, right? So the idea is that you have the other world, and sometimes things go back and forth. Is there any kind of illness that could travel back and forth? A magical type of illness, right? A fairy STI, so to speak.
A fairy STI. Jake, why? I mean, sure, we can do.
Sure.
But let's not do that immediately. Let's not make the first disease law canon in Avallen an STI. The people want it.
I mean, I feel like one of the first diseases ever that were people recognized probably was an STI, right? Because oh shit, if you do this, your thing's gonna fall off, and it's like that's not a good thing. But no, you're right. That's probably not a good idea.
Jack, can you read the text easily? Is it too big or too small? Is it fine?
Who, me or
no? I want chat to know if they can. There's no point us writing stuff if they can't see it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So disease type. So here, let's do that. So we had different kinds of disease, right? You had STIs.
True.
You have airborne type diseases, right?
Yeah.
You have what else do you have? Communicatable through some sort of
spores. Someone spores. Oh, why Maggie says faceless are a thing for a reason.
Oh,
what are you suggesting there? Are you suggesting the faceless are an STI or an STI affliction?
No. That like the faceless are
a disease?
kind of like no, kind of like what do you call it? What's the name of that disease? It's like a skin disease, right? The leprosy, like leprosy.
Ah.
No, but not exactly leprosy. So, but you can have a bacteria disease that affects the skin. That's like a topical thing, and that's kind of interesting.
Maggie, give us some more details. What are you saying there? I'm super intrigued by what you said.
So,
what were you riffing off when you said that?
I think
going with hybrids, fair and humans, but still, yeah. But are you suggesting it's like an illness or like contracted? I guess it's passed on, right? Like it is hereditary.
genetic.
Like you get hereditary diseases. Is that what you're saying? Hereditary.
Yeah.
Wait, that's not how you spell hereditary, is it?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what. Yeah, that's. I was riffing off of that a bit too, with the idea of it being like something from the other world.
More
right?
chocolate
like,
STIs. Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought you were getting at. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. But I like the idea of there being a specific thing that kind of sometimes affects possibly like fate touched or people that have too much connection with the other world. We could start specific with like maybe like the Pen Levy otherworld, for example, right?
Yeah.
Which might be, well, maybe it's the most hostile to mortals or something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And then when people enter, there could be some sort of a sickness that affects them, right? If you're in their other world too much.
Too much. That's a good way to put it. Too much, not just enter. Yeah. But no, I want to go. I want to go historical. We need to create more Avallen like lore in the past. I think we should make something that's happened in the past that's an event that's known, not like a localized thing. It should be an Avallen thing.
Okay. So you want to create the Bronze Age version of the plague.
Yes. Maybe right. Just have to kill like a third of the population or 2/3 of the population, but there should be something.
So Bronze Age plague. All right, we got it. And it pops up every so often. Now here's the thing. We know germ theory and or whatever, right? So, but it can't be. Do you want it to be like that, or do you want it to be a purely more of a magical type thing, so that it doesn't exist in the real world?
I like things to be grounded, and I'm already thinking of like the people, like the Valak people. They're going to be imagining all sorts of places. Like the Raxians brought this disease, right? Like it's foreigners, it's invaders, it's other people coming. They bring it. I mean, that's not necessarily true, but that's what they might think. They might say it's a sickness from the other world. It might be a problem with people venturing into the other worlds too much, or too many Fae coming back. It could be people practicing new farming technology, like all this farming malarkey that's coming into the world now. They might blame that for because I mean the Celts, when they used to have like livestock, but often they would let it run free in the forest. It would be more like a free roaming livestock. And maybe there's a new technology of having your livestock kept in a pen. Maybe there's the idea that might spread disease for some reason. So I like the idea that it's something real, and the Valak people are trying to find out what the cause, and there'll be a lot of people that are blaming different things depending on what they're, I guess, essentially prejudiced against, or what they're worried about most. That intrigues me. Yeah.
So you have this idea, of like when the Raxians come over, right? They introduce more, like you said, herding type techniques, and that's okay because it's easier to keep track of your own wealth, so to speak, since cattle was equivalent to wealth at the time. But it led to more diseases in the people who eat diseased beef, right? So maybe it could be like a brain disease, like a kind of a prion style madness.
Yeah, sure. Jake says the clan should have a slang name for an illness introduced to them by the Raxians. Yeah. I think it probably does make sense that it's something brought over by the Raxians somehow, but then maybe not everyone believes that's how it happened. But we can know that's how it happened, probably.
Yeah.
I think let's get to the exciting part and decide what does this disease do to people. Because
sure.
That sounds like fun.
Well, all right. So I like the idea of I wanted to be a visual thing, right? Because
it's way more exciting. And possibly even a psychological thing, like it makes you do things, or I don't know. Chat, Give us some ideas. What should this disease do to people? Like it has to. Yeah, don't make it too awful. But I mean, I guess you can. Um, but I like the idea of skin sloughs off. Yeah, that's pretty making my skin crawl thinking about it. Maybe
well, if we
less of. I mean, it could be a late stage thing. You going, Kurt? What are you gonna say?
Yeah, if it was like what's the right way to say slough? How do I don't. I've always seen this word written, but I'm cursed by the fact that I see words written. I often say them wrong. But what if your if it's slew? What if your skin slews off?
Oh, Jake, we said sloth. So I said slough. You said slow, and he says sloth.
So I just looked it up on. Oh, there it is. Slough. Yeah. So it should be slough. Slough. There it is. Yeah, you're right. Slough.
I heard slew. Oh no! Have we got 4? Slough. Slow, sloth, slough, and slew.
I'm on Merriam-Webster, and slough seems like the one I'm looking for, where it casts off.
But that's American, Kurt. Don't get your American hegemony. Is that hegemony? Hegemony.
Yeah, we're saying words out loud is hard. So
anyway, let's. I mean, I'm not going to say no. Let's do skin falling off as late stage, right? That's how they go. That's the end.
So late stage skin sloughs. I'm really bad at it.
Skin becomes like bark. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, okay. Let's combine them. So skin becomes like bark, and then it kind of like peels off. That's really cool.
Skin becomes. I like that idea. It becomes bark-like.
Yeah, bark-like, and then peels off instead of sloughs off. I guess kind of the same thing.
Skin peels off.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe your skin becomes bark-like, and when it peels off, making it sensitive, weak, deformed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is to like there's like some kind of rare cure for it, right? So this could be an adventure idea. If a town or someone gets infected by it, they like the early stage is some kind of mark, right? That like some kind of mark.
Yeah.
That indicates that it's going to start.
Someone in chat said pox, right? Like they could have like pox on them and things like that.
Sure. So you're saying that it kind of facial pox?
Sure. No. I don't think it should be that obvious yet. It should be somewhere else on the body so people can hide it, right? That's way more dramatic and fun.
Oh, that is way more dramatic. So kind of.
Let's talk about game design, right? Like.
Yeah.
So, I guess there's 2 decisions there, right? If we do it face, then it becomes immediately obvious, and then you can see people that have it and then decide how to deal with them. But I think it's more interesting and dramatic for players and the GM if that kind of disease is not immediately obvious, right? That leads to more drama, I feel like.
Sure. And also like opportunities for role playing, right? Like, because if it occurred on the legs or the arms first, that means that people all of a sudden start to hide it, and then, but do you like force everyone to like take off their sleeves, or it creates interesting like choices of how you integrate people or interact with NPCs and so on.
Jake Lee has another good idea as well. They become a seed. I mean, now I'm imagining some kind of like awful horror case where you come across a whole village and the village is covered in some kind of growth and bark, and then you kind of go to the source and there's just piles of bodies there, all these former townsfolk that created this horror. I mean, that's definitely a thing. I don't see.
Sure.
Like they could be like blighted houses that are covered in this growth. I don't know. That sounds crazy to me in a cool way.
Yeah, it's I like the idea of, so let's say it's coming from Raxia. So but we feel that it's from like Ataraxia, right? From Raxian.
I mean, I don't think we have to settle on it, but I think that's definitely what the Varlic would most likely think, right? We're going to set this in the past, right? This is pre-current day. This is going to be a historical event. that we're going to mark on the timeline somewhere. And so I like the idea the Rexons have just kind of come across. They're just interacting a lot more, and then this disease strikes, and then of course they're going to blame it on them, right?
Yeah. Although does that create issues historically of the Pencower like accepting them? Because they come over with their disease, but they're still accepting of their trade. Maybe it's okay, like, because that I wonder whether or not they'd be even more aggressive, like even the Pencower, if they thought the Rexons were bringing over disease, right?
No, but
I'm not saying this is.
I'm thinking this is like maybe 100 years before that, or 50 years before that, even. Like this could be like a blip in the past, or when the invasion happened. Shriput says, if you're going with the bark idea, first stage which you can hide is places with more hair become mossy, which you can still hide under clothes or hats, etc.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. So it's very I want to make sure we're not getting too much into the Last of Us type. You've played Last of Us, yeah? Yeah. Which I think is kind of a partial inspiration for this. But I like the idea of it making plant people as kind of it's kind of fun.
Actually, you're right. Let's deliberately make a distinction there, because we don't want to go down that same road. So Last of Us is very much about fungi, right, and mushrooms. But we're doing bark, right? So this is more tree-like, yeah. So let's avoid moss. Let's avoid shrooms. And focus that way anyway.
I mean, it could be this kind of, but I like the imagery of moss of being this kind of, because when you think of like moss growing on stones, there's something evocative about that, right?
True.
Like
you're right. Moss is different from mushrooms. Yeah, you're right. That's fair.
Yeah. And I like how that evokes like mossy stones and
it's very,
and this idea of because and actually that sort of makes like when you become bark, maybe the final stage, the real sort of end game of it is it paralyzes you completely, right?
Right, you become a tree.
Yeah, more or less. Like you're still alive, but it's like a living prison, and that's fucking horrific.
Yeah. That is horrific.
Yeah, so it's the opposite of Last of Us. Instead of becoming like weird zombie creatures, the point is, that could be so someone's mentioning about what do you call it? As an adventure seed of some sort. Prompt, yeah. So maybe they become once you become paralyzed, that's where you become the seed for the disease, right? Where you start spreading it, kind of thing. And maybe originally, and maybe in some cultures in Penn Bay, they originally viewed it as like a blessing from the Evermother.
Oh, dude, realized... yes. I love it. That's so cool. Yeah. You always get the people that think that this is some kind of herald for like a bigger event, or some kind of God's judgment, or becoming a tree, some kind of blessing. I love that. Yeah. And I wanted to highlight this as well, like the benefit of designing things in pairs or with a team. But honestly, I think pairs is sometimes the best, because you get pushback, but there's not too many people around, and then we've got the chat to give us ideas as well. But making things with a partner is really useful, because I said no to moss, right? And then you said, well, no. Moss has this kind of evocative feel about it with Celtic mythos and imagery, and it's not quite fungi. And I'm like, okay, no, you're right. That's good. Yeah.
And we don't know where. Sorry, go again. Are you writing this stuff down? Am I writing
No. I was reading chat. What term? You're better at writing than me. Sorry.
Wait, so skip peeled off, but no. Late stage, victim becomes paralyzed and starts to release seeds.
Yeah, seeds
that can lead to more infection.
Yeah, like trees do. Like and plants.
Yeah. So imagine in the Penn by Forest, there is a sort of tribute to the memory of this horrible affliction.
Well, I mentioned you mentioned earlier the Penn by people might accept it, right? There'll be at least some kind of cult that would.
They did until but you're right. Like there could be some people that believe that there could be some people that believe that it's a blessing, and so they try to bring it back. They're trying to bring it back.
Oh, there you go. That brings it to the current gameplay and game mastering right? Current adventures.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea. Okay,
Yeah.
you continue writing that. You get
Yeah, keep going, keep going.
there are
fiction.
5 cults at the time. Sorry, I talk out loud when I type. I was doing that.
That's good. Yeah. What would turn? And we have some good questions too. So if you're going the bark, first stage, we can hide the place. So yeah, we like the idea still, if possible. What would turn people to bark? Scorn trees, disrespect to shrubbery. Yeah, I feel like it might just be a. It's hard to say whether it's something that is where they're maybe it's contagious in the second stage when they're being cared for. They touch someone or they hug someone. They could pass it in that way. It's like a. It's bacterial in a way, I guess. Plus the Ellyll name. It could be. That's interesting too. Maybe maybe it was a plot from someone in the pen-based fairy court to fuck with humans. That's another possible origin too, right? Like maybe they blamed the Raxians at first, and then they realized that it was from some sort of devious creature within the other world or something. Like that's a possibility as well.
Yeah, completely. Okay, Munabon says, yeah, turn into trees. How can I catch this disease? Yeah. Good question. To what stage can it still be treated? Shriplet says, that's a good question. Well, once you're infected, that's it for you. Yeah, can it be treated?
Yeah. Well, the sort of storybook way of doing it is, if you find the right medicine for it, it could be reversed at any time, right, and eliminated. That could be the real thing. But possibly, if you want to be a bit darker about it, then maybe just while you're still moving. Once you become paralyzed, it's too late. It's infected. It's petrified your central nervous system, and so there's no coming back from it, kind of thing.
So, Dave, this is funny actually. So, it took me a while to realize where we were going with this and to reconnect in my brain, but in Against the Fairy Queen, there is a disease in the Penbythe Forest, but it doesn't turn people into trees, fortunately.
Well, that's from the Isigirthwin, right?
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
No, not quite.
No, I did. Of course not. Yeah. How do you say that correctly, Darren?
Isigirthwin.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I am the worst at pronouncing everything in the world.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Yeah, Kurt has this awesome, not just in speaking as well, but in typing as well. Kurt, I feel sorry for the guy because obviously we're working with this Welsh Celtic mythology and the words can be difficult and he can never get them. And he can never write them either. Even if we're writing in a text and the word's there, like literally a sentence afterwards, he'll spell it wrong immediately.
Yeah. I'm like, is the gear twin? I don't feel so bad about that. I watched the. If you ever watched the what do you call it? The classes that Brandon Sanderson has, he writes on the board. He spells like 10% of his words incorrectly.
True.
That you and I never. So it's like, yeah, it's fine. Part of being a writer is being a good editor. So anyway, let's keep on moving. So yeah. So
anyway, my point was that in the Against the Fairy Queen, there is a disease in the forest brought by the Iskithirwin. And of course, in the game, we have mechanics for sickness and disease, like which we call withering. And you do then have abilities from the priest that can cure those things. And you have magic as well, solar magic that can cure those things. But of course, if any priest can just cure it with a little bit of training, then it kind of renders the disease not threatening, right? So you have to add things to it, like, this special disease needs a specific ingredient to cure, right? Otherwise, there's no tension in the gameplay. So in Against the Fairy Queen, this disease that the Iskithirwin brings, it requires a specific flower to cure it, right? Otherwise, the players could just turn up and say, well, I know how to cure things, I'll cure them immediately for you. And that's okay sometimes, but when you want some adventure to be had, then obviously you need some kind of thing that's stopping them from using their abilities that are meant to be for them to help each other, not necessarily to cure a whole town. So yes, as Shubert says, what stage can be treated? I think, yeah, it can be treated until, I guess, late stage, and we need something special to make it so it can be treated that encourages adventure, exploration, that kind of thing. Because we are making a game, right, instead of a story.
Yeah. And what you're saying is the cure should be, you suggested flowers, right? Some kind of flower.
That's what it was in the disease in against Fairy Queen. I'm saying now it could be something different. It probably should be something different. Because flowers are readily available in the Penpyre Forest, so maybe it's something weird.
How about some kind of like waters from the other world, or if it's an otherworldly disease?
Shubert says the sweat of a lumberjack. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. What was that? What is it? Sweat of a lumberjack?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a little too easy. It could be
too easy. Yeah. Oh, JQ has another good idea for a symptom. He says symptom could be they get endlessly thirsty, right? Because they're turning into a tree. And
that's true.
And water, so I like that as like a super early, like it's like a early symptom. I'll put that down.
Symptom. Yeah, I like that idea. And they can only drink through their toes. They have to. Oh man, I have to keep dipping my feet in water, or maybe that's the cure. Dipping their feet into water, for like some kind of magical or blessed water.
I mean, you're taking the piss right now, right? You're not actually being serious, are you?
I'm only serious if you want me to be serious of that. Okay. If you like the idea, so. No. Here's the thing. Here's another, to me, rule of game design. Even if the idea is fucking stupid,
yes,
you put it out there, right?
Yeah, agreed.
And but you don't judge each other for your shitty ideas.
No, exactly. I don't think less of Kurt for his terrible ideas. I think more of him.
Yeah. You have to judge each other for your great ideas, not for your shitty ones. And that creates a space of trust. And that's really important, I think.
Okay.
True.
Why Maggie suggests trying to avoid mushrooms, but what about a special otherworldly mushroom? I think that maybe that one we might.
Well, it could be an otherworldly moss, like a weird. Because we talk about like bioluminescent like mosses and things that like glow in the other world. There could be like a kind of plant that grows that has a specific kind of weird hue that you have.
No. Okay, wait, stop. I'm gonna go about this the other way. Like, chat has been really awesome with suggesting tree-like themes to the disease. Right? You get thirsty because trees drink water. Your skin becomes bark. You then spread seeds. So there should be a tree-like cure to it as well. Like, what counts as trees? Well, I know there's some kind of like, I guess, insects that like parasites for trees or something like that, or I guess moss as well. Like, I guess like some kind of disease for trees. I guess that probably is damn fungi or mushroom, isn't
it? Yeah, almost certainly it would be that most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know we can do let's do a quick Google search. Like, what kinds of diseases do trees have?
Yeah,
that's a good question. Let's do the old search. What kinds of diseases do trees have?
So I'm letting you. I don't trust myself to go on Google and search things live on Twitch, so I'm letting you do that.
Oh no. Yeah. Well, there's rot. Here's some evocative nature. There's anosis root rot. There's brown spot needle blight. There's this is all in Mississippi, by the way, and it causes 45% of all mortality and degradation in their forests. The laurel wilt disease, the little leaf disease. That's interesting. Little leaf disease is the most important disease affecting shortleaf pine in the south. This disease is caused by complex factors, which includes Phytophthora synonymi, heavy clay soil, and soil that is low in nitrogen. Also, Pythium sip and nematodes nematodes.
Ooh, what's nematodes?
Nematodes are like roundworms.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking of some kind of parasite that you'd have to find and then put it in them. That's literally what I was thinking in my head as you were talking.
Yeah, parasites. I like that idea. Like a magical parasite of some sort that you have to, that can like go through your body and fucking turn you into a weird
Dude, we have
tree.
those. We have magical parasites in Avallen. They exist already.
Yeah. So there you go.
Let's find them. They're in here somewhere.
Hold on.
Some more suggestions in the chat. We got, do trees communicate with each other via a huge network of underground fungi? I don't know. Maybe they do.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Don't forget Street Poot's suggestion. They always feel like they have to face the sun. I kind of like that one, but that one.
You do? You like that one?
I love it. I love that idea. It's so getting increasingly thirsty. Well, you have to say sun, like they need in desperate need or fear of the dark, right?
Fear of the dark. That's interesting. Yeah, that's a different way of putting it, right? That's
not so obvious because if you say always need to fear the face of sun,
it's like, are you walking outside like this constantly?
Yeah, but if they're fear of the dark, and they're like just that means they constantly have to sort of strive for the light. That's a bit more like a what do you call it, roundabout way of putting it, I think. But I love the idea. It's great. Do trees communicate with each other via a huge network of underground fungi? Well, that's a fun idea. If let's say you had a village that was afflicted, right, and they're paralyzed, would they still be able to sort of communicate with each other through like this root system?
I mean, like I said earlier, when whoever it was that suggested the idea of it becoming seeds, I had this image in my head of like coming to like because there's not much communication in these times, right? You have your village and you only get news from the outside when a visitor comes, or if you go to trade in a nearby town and come back again. So you could travel through the world and come across this village that's succumbed to this sickness. And there's just trees and plants of it everywhere. It'll be a really strange sight, right? Seeing this town just covered in trees. Where's all the people? Why is it covered in trees? I forget what you were saying that made me think of this. Communicating, right? Yeah. So at that point, they would all be connected, and sure, I guess you'd venture into this town, and that if you did something to one tree here, then the other trees there would still hear it. Maybe there's a hostile encounter there. Because of that. Yeah, I like that idea.
Now, I'm going to go to the chat real quick. Do they eat the worms? So let's say if it was like nematodes or something, maybe yes. So maybe it's a disease that comes from eating magical worms accidentally inside beef or something.
No. We're talking about the cure. We're talking about the cure.
Oh, I see, for the cure. So does the thing you get, like, if you have the nematode? Well, what I was suggesting is, okay, how it's communicated. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying, though. So what you're saying is if you have whatever the cure is, it eats the worms in your body, and that's how you get cured? Is that
no. I'm saying that the what kills trees is the cure. So if you get some kind of parasite in you that hurts trees, then that could cure you of this. I see what you're saying now, though. It's like, okay, what if there is something inside you that's causing it? You put another parasite inside you that eats that thing. That could cure you as well. I like that idea better, perhaps.
Yeah. And then as the disease...
You go.
Sorry. Maybe as the disease progresses, the afflicted starts communicating with the bush. Sure. Yeah, you could start communicating. You become more in line with the whatever afflicted it or bush or plants or whatever.
We have a message that I want to respond to. Yeah, Dale. Yeah. Hello, late to the party. What did I miss? I won't tell you everything that you missed because it's quite a lot. But what we're doing right now is we're creating a disease that was a historical event in our world of Avallen, this Celtic fantasy world that we create for our game, and we're creating a disease with the help of chat that we're going to put into our history that will become canon. Where we're at is we had some brainstorming of different ideas. Someone suggested a symptom was your skin falling off, and then someone suggested your skin becomes bark. And then we're like, okay, what if your skin becomes bark? You become a tree. That's like the end result of the sickness. What other symptoms are there? Well, you get thirsty, fear of the dark, some kind of pox on the arms that you can hide, and now we're talking about a cure. So that's where we're creating a disease for our Celtic fantasy world of Avallen. Jacob says, I wish I could stay forever, but I'm on call and up early. Good night, my dude. Thank you for saying hi. Thank you for giving us some awesome ideas. Thank you for suggesting that your skin falls off with this disease.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and hopefully see you. Yeah, we'll see you around. We'll be around.
Sugarfoot says, if you have to find a carrier parasite for a cure, please plant me in a nice spot. I'm fine just as being a tree.
I mean, I think sometimes about, man, being a tree, you're just like existing, and It's nice. I mean, that could be an interesting character, right? Someone who like resents being cured.
Yeah.
Because they just love living for hundreds of years as a tree.
Yeah. Well, we have those people already, right? The Penbythe like cults that like embrace it, right? Maybe that's a part of that.
Oh, sure. They just want to live forever, and they think it's a better way of living.
Yeah.
Stronger.
Yeah. So anyway, we have this creature in Avallen, the Alpluakra. Alpluakra. I'm actually not sure how to pronounce this one. If I didn't give a pronunciation guide, it means it's supposed to be read as written. So Alpluakra. These are joint eaters. They're tiny newt-like parasites found in the waters and forests of the otherworld. They hide.
What page?
Huh? What page?
What page is that?
197.
Oh, there we go.
They hide in the throats or stomachs of their hosts and steal their food, leaving them famished.
You said 197?
197.
Oh, that's weird. I don't have that on my. Are you sure?
Well, and
there it is. I found it. The joint. Okay, I got it. Apluka. Okay, I got you. They hide in the throats of the host and steal the food, leaving them famished. Are you saying that these cause the disease, or these like are the cure for the disease?
I think these are the cure.
Okay, so they go in and they steal the.
I mean, maybe it doesn't work so well because they're stealing food from you, but maybe I liked your idea of something going in and eating other parasites, and it just made me think if we actually have a creature in the game already that does that.
You just have to attach it to a string and put it down your throat, and then pull it out, and then pull it out again. Yeah, it's like leeches, right? You're basically what you're suggesting is a form of like leech therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that idea. Yeah, May say if you're a tree, you'd have to pay taxes or rent. That's fair. It's a good solution to late stage capitalism. Kind of like that idea.
Become a tree. Yeah.
Yeah, becoming a tree. Like, dude, it cures climate change.
True.
It's
true.
It cures climate change. You don't have to spend money on groceries. I'm ready. I'm ready to receive the newsletters for this cult. I'm in. Let's do this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The cult should have a name. Chat. Suggest some names for the Penbythe cult that wants to embrace the Ellyll's curse. Yeah.
Cult of the Grove.
Cult of the Grove. Yeah. I mean, cult of the tree, cult of the bark. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love it too. Like, yeah. I mean, we could circle back to this, but I'm gonna say it's wrong. How do you say it? Ellyll?
Yeah, Ellyll's okay. Yeah. I mean, technically it's like Ellyll, but Ellyll sounds. Yeah, Ellyll sounds better.
Yeah. Because the Ellyll like tend to the groves in the other like like to the Evermother's groves, right?
Yeah.
So tying them in as an adventure type thing could be interesting, either as a thing that also can afflict fairies, or there could be a fucking psychopath fairy or like a mischievous fairy that wants to turn people into trees to create like a really rare grove of people. And that could be like a really interesting adventure hook too, right? Like a sort of a mischievous Ellyll trying to turn humans into trees for her personal collection or something.
So are you saying anyway? Are you saying the disease is actually caused by an Ellyll, or just that that's what they think it is and that's what they're calling it?
I'm not sure yet. Either way, haven't. Flamboyant Belly Labs. AB is offering us a chance to promote your channel, Darren. Isn't that fun?
Them. Oh no, it's gone. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Okay, Dale says maybe the disease turns you into a tree that is similar to Worms in Middle Earth. I actually don't know what that is. Tree-ish, but can move. Oh, you mean like the tree ants? Tree-ish, but can move and takes revenge on anyone they feel had wronged them in life. It darkens the souls, makes them vengeful, wrathful, always hungry. Well, they start.
Now I love.
You're gone.
I love that idea, but now I'm worried if it's going to be too close to the actual idea. Now that we know it, if it'll be too close to Hurons. But
yes, and also that sounds more similar to the Last of Us, right? Where they become creatures that then hunger for others. I think I'm very much attached at the moment to becoming a tree can't move kind of thing.
But tree ants and tree people, that's still a fun idea.
Yes.
And it's not outside of the question of being a possible adventure thing too. Everything's possible. That's
Dude, I don't want to go on another tangent, but I just completely forgot. There's a character in Against the Fairy Queen who's become a tree. Who's cursed to become a tree.
That's right. Yeah. I forgot about that too.
Oh my god, isn't that crazy?
So are you saying that he didn't infect, like, we don't, he hasn't infected anyone else with it, right?
No. Him and his lover were cursed by the Fairy Queen, and this was directly from the Fairy Queen, right? Yes, the cursed tree.
So,
it is.
Yeah. So that was something. That's something that crossed my mind too, which is whether or not it's a disease devised by the Fairy Queen. Again, spoiler alert: if you're a player, please stop listening. If you're a game master, please continue. Or if you're a narrator. But what if it's like an ancient disease that was also? I mean, I don't want everything to be like it was the Fairy Queen all along. But
I mean, it could be that the Fairy Queen utilized it, right? Like maybe it's not because of her, but she knows how to use it, and she used it to curse this particular chap that's in the story.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So she's aware of it.
Yeah.
So which means that they could still be cured once you realize it.
She brought it back exactly.
Yeah, I like that idea. And then Dale suggested maybe they're immobile in winter due to their sap freezing. Well, we're suggesting that they're immobile no matter what because of their sort of it infects their nervous system somehow, and that's what keeps them, like, they can't actually move, and they take root as human trees, so to speak.
But I do like his idea fundamentally in that when I had this image in my head of you coming across a village that's been corrupted by this disease, and now you have round houses like full of tree-like growths, and there's no one here. Where did everyone go? It's just trees instead. I want that to be a hostile environment, right? And not just because there's seeds that can affect you. I like the idea that maybe you have to venture in there to find out what happened, or find the source of it, or investigate it, and that in itself should be dangerous somehow. So perhaps the trees can be, I don't know, maybe they can be mobile somewhat. I don't know, maybe they can inflict harm on people somehow. Maybe it doesn't have to be them swinging arms like an angry tree. Maybe it could be something else. But I do like the idea of them being hostile. As Dale says.
Yeah. So that goes back to the Huron's idea. Huorn's idea of it also corrupting your soul and being a dark thing. It should be fun. And it could be like maybe they could become like, okay, like if they're vicious and they're sort of planted where they are, you can take inspiration from, maybe they don't have to move, right? Maybe they can just be things that fucking swipe and viciously and things in the vicinity, like a Venus flytrap type situation, right? Where just unconsciously they're just attacking. The cure will definitely be an adventure, Dale. Like some kind of, we suggested some kind of either flower or some kind of parasite that eats the parasite inside people that are afflicted, and it takes time to do. And so it takes a whole adventure into Unwin to figure out to cure it. But because we have like what, 45, we have what time?
I've got 40 minutes to finish this.
40 minutes. Or at least to get the idea.
Yeah, like, get the idea. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you have a village around us is overrun by trees. Okay. So this is like an encounter, right? So now,
I just have this idea in my head that I want to put down so I don't forget. Just
yeah. But I think because here's the thing, with all this stuff, just making up diseases, it's fun. But I think what you're doing is very important, which is you're situating it into something that will be useful for gameplay, right? Yeah. So I think, and then that'll let you know whether or not it's a good idea. Because if you can't play with it, then it's not a useful idea, right?
And here's another interesting idea, or just something to discuss in game design in general. Like, so we have two kind of situations, right? We have a village that has succumbed to it and is covered in trees, and then we have a village that might succumb to it soon, right? And obviously you want to save those people. I don't like the idea of you better cure them once it's already happened. I think it should be over then. So there has to be a time restraint, right? You have to cure these people before this happens to them. Do you come across the town first that is okay, but the disease is taking place in. So there's some people that are thirsty, and there's some people that have pox, but they haven't noticed or they're hiding it. And then you have to venture into the terrible town to try and find out a reason. Or do you come across the town first that's already succumbed to it, that's covered in trees? You're like, what the hell is this? You investigate it, find out that it's hostile, it's dangerous, learn a bit about it. Then you come across the town, and then you see things there that that remind you of the previous one. And then you start investigating. Do you see what I mean? I think it could go either way, but I think both are interesting.
In terms of realistic timing, it makes. I mean, depends on the context. Like, if you're thinking of these as just kind of an encounter or a side quest you drop into an adventure, it would be easier to come across the town that has the people that are worried about it, and then they tell you about the town that has it. But it's more dramatic to come across the fully petrified town first, right?
Yes, petrified. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, petrified.
Yeah.
Left, petrified. I love that. Okay, we've got some awesome suggestions in chat, apparently. Why Maggie says, could these groves be guarded by the creatures from the book? That all I can think of is lessons from The Witcher. Yes, so, okay, I'll fully admit, for that creature that you're talking about, I'll find it here. This guy. I was very much inspired by lessons from The Witcher. Yes, that was part of the imagery. I love these guys. These are the ghosts and spirits of animals, abused animals and abused forests come together to punish people.
Yeah. So Maggie says it's the Bellatuk.
Yes, this is the Bellatuk. Yeah, named after an old Celtic king. Dell says maybe it's carried in the sap that seeps out during the spring and summer to drip on those passing under them. In the fall, maybe the sap is just on the bark and has to be touched to pass the curse. Winter's the only time to safely deal with those who have been afflicted. Oh, that's interesting. It could be the sap. Go on.
That's a fun idea. So the contagion is their whatever spit or blood or whatever. It's from touch, and there comes a point in the disease where their fluids in their body become more sap-like.
Yeah.
And caring for their loved ones, that's how the disease transfers.
Right? It's tragic. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So it's passed through kisses and hand holding and all this stuff, and so the only real way to not get it is to not touch it, which is how maybe the first village starts getting the disease, right? Like a couple of young children or teenagers or whatever, they go to the village that's forbidden and they play amongst the trees or something, and then they touch it during the spring, the sap, or drink it or eat it or something, and when they come back they start to spread the disease. And like a 4-year-old, or like if my son started having disease, I would care for him, and that would pass it to me and all that stuff. So so it's a disease passed through love.
Yeah, and I also think it's
good one, Dale.
Lovely and terrible that it's something that spreads during spring and summer, because that's a time of rejuvenation and life, and you've just got out of winter and everyone survived, and then this horrible thing hits that's kind of growth in the wrong kind of way.
Yeah. And Maggie's right. In a way, it can be an STI.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah.
I'm sapping
so hard right now. Yeah. Okay, cool. So what's the cure then in the end? We didn't really settle on something. And I guess if it's caused by sap, then something getting into your skin. Go on. So it's skin contact. We decided it's contact, right? It's skin contact.
Well, yeah. Hypothetically, if it's like a viscous fluid, then another counter fluid like water from the other world, or blessed water from an Ellyll or something like that, or sap from a different tree, like a blessed tree of the Evermother, something like that, or sap from a flower that can counter it. That could be an option.
I'm still thinking the other way though. I'm thinking it should be something poisonous. Like it's a poison, like a poison you have to extract from a creature from the other world that like kills plants, like chemotherapy, something that's actually harmful to you, but it kills the other thing more.
Yeah. What if it's going back to the Apluakra idea?
Yeah.
The idea is so in our book we say that it's joint eaters. They're tiny new-like parasites found in the waters and forests of the other world, and they hide in throats or stomachs of their hosts and steal their food. What if it's sap now? What if it finds the sap to be delicious, the blood or the fluid, and it eats that, like termites or something, and it eats that, but it's poisonous to them and it kills them, right? So
it kills the Alpluakra as well as the tree stuff.
Yeah, so it's delicious to them.
Yeah, I'm kind of down.
Because it's kind of like was it when cats drink? Was it the fluid that they're not supposed to drink?
I don't know. Anki might know. Lunabons might know.
Yeah, what is it? It's like the fluid from using cars, fluids that
there's a bunch of plants and trees that cats can't interact with as well.
Yeah. Oh, antifreeze.
Antifreeze. So, I mean, no one can drink antifreeze, my dude. Right?
No, but it's like, well, anyone can drink it, but like the danger is that small animals can drink it, and it's because it's sweet tasting, but it kills you, and it's poisonous to cats. So,
anti-D's.
Anti-D's.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Oh, did he spell antifreeze wrong? No, you didn't. Okay, I see what's going on there.
Say anti-D's nuts. Yeah. And then, Dale's at. Hold on. Let's list him these ideas. So it goes back to the STI. Chance to be personal cost to BC. Sure. Maybe you have to draw a sap from those or afflicted, and boil it down with maybe the addition of some other herbs or something and make it honey-like substance. So I mean, yeah, it depends on what dramatic turn you want in your story, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's different ways to do it. If you want the dramatic turn to be that it requires something to victims and you have to like sacrifice something, that's kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. But if it's an adventure where you have to go retrieve something, then that's like a different kind of solution. So the idea is Maggie, I thought you were making a joke about anti-D's nuts. So as a game designer, so put on your game design hat. What's the most fun way to solve this, right? Because you can solve it any number of ways. But ultimately for us, if we're making this thing, what's fun? Like I think as a game designer, that's always the question you should be asking, right?
Yeah. Like, and I think like my headspace goes to, so you have to find this creature from the other worlds that's usually a bad thing, but you want it to help cure these people. And then my brain then goes another step further. It's like, well, we know that getting to the other world is really difficult, at least to get there intentionally. Usually the heroes and the Celtic tales, you stumble into the underworld by accident, right? It's really hard to get there deliberately, knowingly. So right. I like the idea of them trying to find a way to the other world and then finding someone who has this parasite in them anyway naturally. You know what I mean? Like they have it and then you save them to save the other people instead. But maybe that's too happen chance. I don't know. We don't have to get this nailed down now, but there is that space there as well. It's like you could try to get to the other world, but then you could find it somewhere else in the normal world as well, because these parasites do come back, right? So it could be found in different ways.
I got you. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, I don't know what the exact answer is yet.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that matters. But I'm still writing down your idea. So these joint eaters, they find the sap delicious, and then are we suggesting that they just eat all the sap, or they take it from your skin somehow, or from inside you? Like what's happening here? Does it really matter? Do we have to write that down now? Or
well, it could be that they like. So part of the reason why it if they infect a fully infected person like a tree, it destroys the tree because all their blood and fluids have been sort of converted into sap, right? But if you're only in the middle stage, it seeks out the sap and eats it. So it's like chemotherapy, like you're talking about, right? Like it'll eat a lot of it, it'll weaken you terribly, but it'll at least, in most cases, kill the creature before it kills you.
Yeah. It's a person will have it consume the sap inside of you.
And so Dale has another suggestion. Perhaps you have to go to the other world to recover a knife or a sickle. and then you have to go on a quest for the item and get some bladed instrument that has to be to draw from the sap for your loved ones to create the cure. And I think that sort of thing can be fine, but you also have to be worried about going too far off from your core idea or quest, right? And I think that's okay. But I like the idea of searching for something, right?
Yeah.
Either and it could be something like going like as you search for the answer, it could be that these creatures, the Alpluakra, maybe the creatures, the fairies of the other world, they have a way to gather them that isn't known to humans or mortals, and so perhaps that's the quest you go on with the in order to harvest them or something. So yeah, but fundamentally the idea is a good one of giving your if you want to make it a longer adventure, giving your PCs a thing to do, but at the same time making sure that the fun of it or the idea of it is clear, and it depends on whether or not you think you can make a fun fetch quest, I guess.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about fetch quests in video games and media and all that stuff?
Well,
yeah, like we do that, and it's a pretty common adventure trope.
I think what the bad rap that fetch quests get is mostly from like MMO genre games and RPG games, where the one thing you have to do is literally walk to some place, get the thing, and then come back again. And the act of doing it isn't actually that much of a challenge; it's more of a time waste. And there's no activity in getting the item when you get there. The challenge is just finding the location, and then that's it, right?
Yeah.
Most adventures can be boiled down to getting something from somewhere, right? But you wouldn't call those fetch quests because I guess it has the connotation because of what I just said.
Sure. Yeah, and so you have to be careful when you use that because it has to feel meaningful, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it feels like you're just spinning your wheels or something. So, yeah, I like the idea, but yeah, definitely something. A bit of a tangent. With trees, you can connect a broken branch, and over time, it'll become part of the tree again. That's right. If someone's missing a limb and gets the tree stage of disease, and you perform this, would they have a new limb once cured? So if you splice a limb onto someone with a disease, will they keep it? Maybe that's a funny idea. I mean, you could do that kind of with humans, right? Like you could fucking grafting. That's what it is. Like you graft things onto humans sometimes. Like you graft fucking skin all the time. So I'm gonna say yes. The answer is yes.
Yes, I don't see why not. But I like the idea of it coming out wonky, right? Like you can't do this like surgical. You get a perfect arm back. You get like this the wonky growth. Sure, why not?
Yeah. So it works. No, I love it. So yeah, you can definitely graft things. And yeah, so Dale's talking about marsh witches can create the cure for a price. So even though we have this disease as a kind of, what do you call it, as a adventure hook, and possibly an encounter, it leads to a couple, just by having this, it leads to a couple different possible adventures, right?
Yeah.
Like journeying to other worlds, like getting the cooperation of a marsh hag, like going on a quest to harvest Apuluakra. So
yeah,
I
mean, witches and hags often have newts on them, right? So maybe they literally have the joint eaters with them. Like maybe going to hags is one way to get joint eaters. Why Maggie says, what if the two are combined? Like a mortal person thinks it involves this sap that has to be collected by a special thingamabob, and in your travel to the other world, the players learn that Ellyll or something use these joint eaters to cure it, and that's the actual cure, leading to getting those instead. Yeah, 100%. Like, and that's another thing as well is how do the players find out about the cure, right? Do they go to the town and the people there just say, hey, we need the joint eaters, can you find them for me, please? That will cure us. Or do they have to go looking for it? And then where do they find the information? How does that come about? I have to imagine that because we're setting this as a historical event, and then assumedly in the current time when this encounter happens, there will be prior knowledge somewhere. There'll be how this happened before, the history of it, how it was affected, and how people discovered a cure for it in the past, right? So you could find knowledge that way. Yeah.
But here's something even more nefarious, because we're dealing with magic and stuff.
Yes.
So Dale had this idea of like the witch hag helping you.
Yeah.
What if the reason it's coming back is a witch hag discovered that the sap is actually very useful for some sort of concoction or weapon, and so that's why she's trying to spread the disease so she can harvest it more for her experiments and shit.
Yes, I think that's great. I think
anyway,
sure, why not?
Anyway, there's lots of disease. Yeah, there's lots of ideas you could have for adventure hooks, but yeah.
Okay, I want to zoom out a second. I think we have the disease. We've got a name for it, the Ellyll's curse. We have a cult of people that embrace it. We have the symptoms. We have the outcome. We have the imagery of things that could help us with an encounter or things that make it look terrifying, why you want to be stopped. We have the idea for a cure. We have a bunch of ideas of maybe how it started, like a hag uses the sap for a concoction, and that brings the disease back. That's a good idea. I want to zoom out now and go back to the idea of us making lore, the history. Like, so what was the consequences of this? What kind of legends are associated with it? What kind of bardic tales are being told today because of this period? That kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I like the idea. Let's see here. Let's look for some. I like to think. I'm looking at some poetic forms, which is how I like to deal with things. So I'm looking for a good form we can use. Let's see here. What else? Poetic forms. Okay, so how about this one? Let's look at this.
Let's call this the old lore. Oops. The old lore. Wait, is your instinct to write a poem? Are we writing a poem now?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, let's try. So Odul Gyuth. What you do in Odul Gyuth, and an Odul Gyuth is a 4-line poem with 7 syllables. Hold on, give me a second. Let me do some.
Can you copy and paste it into the
Oh, yeah, of course. Give me 1 second. Hold on.
I will hold on.
My screens are all over the place because I cleared my browsing history to get better hotel deals for a tour that we're planning.
so side point, Kurt and I are arranging an independent hip-hop music tour of Japan for a local artist in London, and we did that through crowdfunding, and then we're going in June. So I'm going back to Japan in June for this, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and we're going to the bass player. So the artist named Xiao Do, and he's a great nerdcore rapper. And we were able to get the bass player for Snoop Dogg to play bass in Japan.
Yes, that's right. The bass player for Snoop Dogg is going to be the bass player on our Japan tour for Xiao Do.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. And then, all right, I'm not saying that we write this poem now. Oh, and also the drummer is going to be a famous drummer here in Japan, from a band called Chai, if you know Chai.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a. Let me put the name in the chat. An Adel Good. I'm sure I'm saying this completely fucking wrong.
So I can tell you.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm gonna say it fucking wrong here.
That is actually hard. Aldul Gwith.
Adel Gwyd.
Gwith.
An Adel Gwith.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a use of traditionally it uses what is called a Finneghaned, which is a complex form of Welsh rhyming. But that I speak English, so it's not like it's something that I'm an expert in. But what I love about Welsh poetry, when you look at the forms, is they're not so common. Like, obviously they became more popular in the late medieval period, and I think early to mid 19th century, when like a lot of like poets were like being more naturalistic and using poems and exploring poetic forms and everything. But I just like to take the forms and think about if there's a way to write a poem And if you guys want to help us write a poem, that'd be fun, But we can keep talking about it. So the password of the unknown Martag found the secret and created the old forest that no one enters for fear of their lives. No one has ever entered it, has returned as far as field passage.
So there's a suggestion from Dale, and I don't know if this is necessarily. I mean, this must be part of the legend, and he has a really good point here. Is if this disease is contact based with the sap, right? There must be an area or blighted towns that are just covered in this thing, and anyone who goes in there succumbs to it and becomes part of the forest as well, right? That's just an awesome idea. Yeah, part of the legend. Dale says, yeah, I really like that. I liked it so much, I literally just copy and pasted it into our lore document. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, copyright Addison Games 2024.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
So
what's really important is, if we're gonna do this right, is Dale Davis 67. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
That way you remember who it comes from.
Yeah.
I think that's important. I think that's important to cite your sources. But now we've got
credit. Everyone has given us good ideas, this chat, dude. Right?
Oh, well, then you should write everyone's names down.
Fine, I'll do it.
Dunno.
Why Maggie, who I know is a pigeon instead. And then, who else gave us great ideas? No, that was everyone, I think. Yeah. Thank you for your great ideas. So what we did now, we're writing a poem about.
No, I'm just vibing. I'm just vibing. Let's keep writing.
I'm not saying it's bad. We're writing a poem. I love writing poems with you. it's one of the great pleasures that part of my work is writing a poem with Kurt.
Amongst friends, and darken. I don't know. So this is just a groove, right? So where trees and leaves grow of men amongst fens and darkened groves. So the cool thing about this form is that you have to have the rhyme of man and fen come the third syllable, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then the B, so groves is going to be in the last rhyme. So we have to have something that rhymes with groves. So what's a good rhyme for groves that we can get to?
That's actually quite difficult, isn't it?
So, yeah. So if that doesn't work, then it has to change it, right? If you can't think of what the ultimate line is. Coves. Oh, I got it. Coves, right? Something like find the cure, because the cure is the fucking Apaluca, right?
Yeah. These the new creatures that live in little ponds and stuff.
Dapin, blah blah, something like that. Find the cure in Dapin Coves.
Yeah. Maggie suggests droves as well, which is also good.
Droves is good.
And then we do need a second B, don't we? So.
We need a second B for droves, so it could be droves, it could be coves, droves, coves. I don't think it'll be stoves.
No.
Cloves, but that's so cloves is less likely, right? Because it's not a what's called these most fens and darkened groves. When trees and leaves grow on men amongst fens and darkened groves. See, so now we're describing the disease. and that become, and they grow. So seek
we got alcoves as well, which makes sense.
Alcoves, yeah. Seek the eaters of its blood.
Do we want to say? I guess you're being a metaphor, right? Sap is the tree's blood. That's the intent there.
Yeah, exactly. Seek the eater, and it's also easier to rhyme. Blood's an easier word to rhyme. So seek the eater of his blood amongst the. And then what rhymes with blood? Is blood easy to rhyme? Actually, blood, rud, tud, lud, mud. Oh yeah, mud. Amongst the within the.
I mean, you have mud. Maggie.
Mud.
Had the same idea. Yeah, mud.
Yeah, mud. Within the blah blah mud. Within the. What do you call it when something like water ponds or scummy?
Scummy.
Of alcoves within the scummy. No, that doesn't work. Within scummy mud. I guess that works with of. I mean, so that's an idea. I don't like this line. Within the scummy mud, within seek the eaters of its blood. But is there a fancier word for fishing? Ah, stagnant. I like that.
Stagnant.
In the stagnant. In the stagnant mud of coves.
Is that too many syllables now?
No. That's 7. In the stagnant mud of coves. Perfect. We did it.
When trees and leaves grow on men, amongst fens and darkened groves, seek the eaters of its blood in the stagnant mud of coves. Yeah.
Nice. Of their blood. So that's like the clue to how to solve it, right?
Yeah.
So you have to go. We did it. Good job, guys. Fed. Ooh, fed is a good word.
I feel like we didn't mention the sap though. The sap needs to be mentioned somehow. I guess that's the
blood.
No, that's the blood.
The blood, yeah, that's the blood. Yeah. So it has to be a poem, so they can't be too direct. I think stagnant or fetid are good. I think both can be good.
In the fetid mud.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, awesome. We have a poem now, and now we need to just decide on like what was the consequences and what were the legends and associated with the cure? Like, did heroes come and fix this problem, or was it a decree of the gods? Was this in the time?
I think relying on either okay, the obvious choice is either a heroic type figure in the past or like fairy intervention, right? Like the Ellylls or something helped them a long time ago, and maybe like the legend says on Ellyll, so kind of like the like a dryad type legend. I'm sure I'm gonna spell this wrong. See, this is exactly what Derek's talking about. How do you spell Ellyll again?
It's 2 L's, both times 2 L's.
Thank you. Legend says, and Ellyll fell in love with a mortal who was afflicted by the disease, and so she journeyed across Anwin to find the cure, kind of thing. Yeah. So maybe it was like the legend has it that a fairy fell in love with a man, and because of that, it was delivered from the other world, and that's how they cured the disease originally. But it's not something that's well known to mortals.
Okay. And then what was the consequence of this? Like, I did it spread out of the Penbythe forest? I kind of want it to be elsewhere as well. Like, having a disease that turns people into trees inside a forest makes sense, but I want it to be a bigger piece of history than that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
Like, did it impact the Penkawa or the Pendrike? Thank you, Shurput.
I think it would have to be.
Good night, dude.
Yeah. Thanks, Shurput. Yeah. Please join us next time. No, I think the idea of, because like our original idea came back to Raxia, right? Ataraxia, sort of being the source of the disease. So what if it spread to what if it was amongst the Pencower but it just happened to be around the same time when they had like first contact with the Raxians or something. And then later on, the Raxian, the Penbathe, oh no, we've had this forever. No, this is a thing. Right? Oh, because maybe that's the adventure where the adventure starts. Maybe the adventure starts. Oh no, not starts, but rather maybe there's a history of it in the Pencower lands, and they're blaming the Raxians. But then it turns out it's actually just an ancient disease from the Penbathe.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, if we're outside the Penbythe forest, we discover this sickness and it's about trees and stuff, it would make sense for the heroes to go to the Penbythe clanlands because they know everything there is to know about trees, and the druids worship them even more than others, and the Fae, the Ellyll, they tend to otherworldly groves, so it makes sense for the heroes to take a pilgrimage there to try and find out more about it, right? So yeah, and then you're right, then they could find that these cults that embrace the disease and that it's been there for ages.
It may suggest bringing it back to the Penlevy swamps. It would also make sense for the Penlevy swamps, for sure, because they can just kind of like, affect a whole village of nomadic people, and you wouldn't even fucking know it.
Also, so maybe that's where you might go to find the joint eater, right? Maybe.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's where you find the cure. I mean, we can make it super multi-clanal adventure if we wanted to. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Let's say that there's the history of the disease, the legend that arose is from the Penkawer clan, because to them it was awful and horrible turning into a tree, right? Like,
because
that's where the legend comes from. That's where the mark in history is. But really, it's been a part of the Penbive for ages, right?
Sure.
Something
Yeah, I like that. The Penbive and the Pen Levy. And what if the Pen Levy, they also have the disease, but they saw it as a blessing because it's a better existence. Like what we were talking about, leave me as a tree. It's a better existence than what they were left with in some ways.
Yeah, maybe. No. I don't know. I don't know about that one.
All right. Don't judge me on my bad ideas.
No. It's still a good idea. I see where you're going with it, but trees don't grow so much in the Pen Levy swamps either. So it's
that's fair. That's true. Well, yeah, I guess you're right. But that's the thing, right? Is they don't grow in the Pen Levy, but they're not actually growing in the Pen Levy. They're turning into trees and taking root like a mangrove type situation.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Dale has a good suggestion. If like the Penkawer are quite industrious, like when they go to the forest to gather trees to chop them down, that's when they come infected and bring it back to the town, right? That's a cool idea.
Yeah. And that's good. So Meg says you feel like the Penkawer get set aside a bit more frequently, so tying them in is awesome. Okay, no, that's good feedback. I like that idea.
Yeah. So this is a Penkawer legend, funnily enough. Yeah, Penkawer legend. Well, not even a legend. Yeah. This is a thing. It's an event. Penkawer event. A blight. Right, from the past.
Yeah.
As the Raxians came.
Yeah.
Raxians came.
At first.
Heroes went to Penbive clans for assistance, I guess, and for wisdom, right? And then maybe that ties into your idea of the Fae. Maybe one of the heroes catches it, meeting one of these cults or something, and then the Fae saves them. The Ellyll does, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Sorry. Perhaps. So perhaps a hero or.
Oh, it's here. That's that part.
Oh yeah. I just copy and paste it. Yeah. And sorry. Now that Maggie says this, that's a good idea. So one of our projects that we hope to do in the near future is like a source book and really fleshing out the clans more. And rest assured that the Penkawer will get a lot of attention. So if that's your favorite clan, they will get attention.
Okay, I think we're good here now, right? We have a disease.
Yeah, we have ideas. Sorry, am I copying and pasting this thing?
Yeah, please do. Put it just at the bottom there. Yeah. We have the Ellyll's curse. I guess would we change the name though if it's the if it's a Penkawer story?
Yeah, it would be.
I mean, they might do because they might think of the Ellyll as Trixie Fae. So maybe
but maybe a fairy from the Penkawer fell in love with a mortal, and she had to go to the other world in order to fucking find the cure.
Yeah, I like calling the Ellyll's curse still because I think the Penbive might be reticent to associate the Ellyll with the curse because they worship Ellyll, right? But the Penkawer might do that because it's not their Fae, right?
It's not theirs, yeah.
Hashtag not my Fae. Yeah.
Not my Fae. That's like not my Fae.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a good. I like. Would it be a Bubak that fell in love with a mortal or had a close relationship with a mortal? I can't imagine a Bubak falling in love with a mortal.
No, I think that's a bit strange because it's the children, right? That's of the Everchild. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fine if it wasn't Ellyll. I mean, it would be ironic if the Penkawer called it the Ellyll's curse, but it was the Ellyll that granted them the cure, right? That's.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we have time to flesh it out, but
okay.
I think the important part too is sitting on ideas that you like and letting them sort of percolate is important too.
But yeah. No,
but there's good stuff. Good stuff.
I'm gonna do a quick run through then as like a summary, I guess. So we have the Ellyll curse. This is a legend of the Penkawer. I guess we don't know when this was. Maybe 100 years ago or something. It's a disease that's caused by sap, so it's caused by contact, seeping wounds of loved ones and other people that are ill with it, and trees during spring and summer. Obviously, there has to be particular trees. I assume there's always trees that are caused by this disease, right? It's not just any tree, obviously. Symptoms include increasingly thirsty and fear of the dark. Then they gain some kind of pox in the arms that can be hidden and concealed from others. Then their skin becomes bark-like and begins to peel in places. And then eventually they become paralyzed. And then they start to release seeds. No, I guess it's sap then, right? It's not seeds anymore, it's sap. That can lead to more infection. We have imagery of villages and towns, roundhouses overrun by trees with no people left. The community is completely petrified. And then we have this idea of the cure being an otherworldly parasite that loves the sap, finds it sugary and juicy, and goes inside you and cures you from the inside by consuming the stuff and dying in the process. Then we have a poem. Wow, I've written a poem as well. When trees and leaves grow on men, amongst fens and darkened groves, seek the eaters of their blood in the fetid mud of coves. Oh, that really flows really nicely, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thanks to the chat too. I like
that.
Thank you.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So that was a quick example of how to write poetry. Is work backwards. That's almost always like the answer is to have the form and then figure out where you're going and then write from there. But you guys get that. Dale Davis had we're leaving. So 2 comments. So Maggie said that their player loved the pen cower, and so we look for ways to tie them in a lot of games. Like I said, we want to bring you more stuff about the pen cower. So
there's a lot of stories I want to dive into with the pen cower, because they have this awesome I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, like mirror imagery that they worship the Everchild, who's a god of mischief, right?
Sure.
And thingies, but then they're also the pen cower, which are the ones that conquered the giants, right? With trickery. So they have this like industrious nature to them, but they also live on these huge plains and they have these huge like fortresses. And, we do need to pay more attention to them. I'm excited to jump in more. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, I don't know if this is coming to fruition, but I've been messing around with the idea of doing a. Can I say this on stream?
Yeah.
I would love so an idea I'm messing around with is writing a novel with Darren about the Wild Hunt, and in my initial stories, one of the main protagonists, they're all gonna be protagonists, but the most interesting protagonist to me is the Everchild as a character, right? Like the idea of how did this kind of like mystical child become a fucking god? It's such a cool story and an interesting story, and this kind of binary nature, or so to speak, or non-binary nature, however you look at it, is really interesting to me. So I agree with you. I'm also a big fan of the pen cower. I think my favorite clans are probably the pen cower and the pen levy. Yeah. I really like them. So we want to bring more stuff to the game. Dale Davis also suggested, how about a tree spirit along the lines of a dryad that was betrayed by a human lover, and her race, she made this to get back to him. I mean, that's a possibility too. That's like a.
That's the tale from the Fairy Queen that we snuck into against the Fairy Queen. That's
Yeah. So that does happen. That does happen in the Fairy Queen. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, you're in good company there.
Yeah, could there be a legend related to a Jack-like character in this, like Jack and the Beanstalk? Pendrake supremacy. Get out of here, man! But no one's asking your opinion. Just kidding. I like Pendrake.
My goodness,
Pendrake too.
All right, I think we're good here. We're about to finish in 1 minute. This was awesome. This is not where I don't know how we got here. About making I had another plan of making a monster encounter, but we made a disease instead, and I think that's awesome. We've got a piece of history here. The Ellyll's curse. This will be in the book at some point.
Or the remedy. I don't know. Whatever. We can figure it out. We have time to develop. But thank you so much, y'all, for the great suggestions and helping us develop a cool idea that hopefully we can bring to the world in your doorsteps. I think originally Darren wanted to make a monster specifically.
Yeah.
But that's the other important part of creativity is when something inspires you, it's fine to be inspired and let that take you somewhere. I think that's important.
100%. Maybe we can make the monster next week. There's a monster I've always wanted to make, and we haven't made it yet. And I want to get it done.
Oh, are we streaming next week? Is that on the docket?
I guess so. This is too much fun, right? So maybe.
Maybe. No, I'm anyway. And I also have to get ready for my next year. So I do stream in another 30 minutes with someone else.
Do you? Okay, do you want to plug it? Plug your stream?
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to follow, so obviously follow Darian and he'll tell you about all our stuff. If you also want to follow one of our collaborators, her name's Chrissy, and my collaborator as well. You could go to Digs. We usually do art and music, so it's more like an art and music and sometimes video games. So it's less related to, it's not really related to Avallen, and more related to music and art making, but we talk about games and make up stupid songs. So if you want to check that out, you can.
What is it? Dig. I'm typing in the thing. Is it digs like that? Digs. How do you write it?
I'm trying to see where you're typing this. I don't know where you're typing it, but I'll post it. Let me post it in the chat real quick. So it's
Maggie says, "Sleep Pig, what monster, dude? I've always been looking for a spot to put it, but it's the Spridgen. The Spridgen. Yeah. The Spridgen is such a funny creature, dude.
Oh yeah. I thought. See, I would say that incorrectly. I would have said Spriggan, but yes.
Yeah, me too. But I looked it up today and found out it's Spridgen. It's a Cornish creature, and these what I love about them is just the idea of the encounter. They are not hostile until they feel like they've been insulted, but they try to claim insult whenever they can. So they enjoy talking to people, but they like to be insulted, or they like to claim insult and then punish the insulters. So it leads to you have to step on eggshells around them. And the monsters that they have huge heads, which means it might be literal. They have literal huge egos, right? Super fragile egos.
So they're they're music theater majors. I got you.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't know if anyone will appreciate that stupid joke. No, I love music theater, so I love music theater, so it doesn't matter. That's a fine joke. No, I love that idea. Okay, next week. Is that what's on the docket for next week? Designing a Spriggan?
Sure. Yes, please.
All right, so tune in either next week or in 2 weeks. Darren and I are talking about. I'm okay with doing next week.
Next week. Let's do next week. We're ready.
All right, I don't mind.
Yeah.
All
right, we're off. Thank you all. This was really fun. Appreciate all your ideas. If you want to check out more from Legends of Avallen, you can find links in our bio. And I'll see you here next Wednesday. And the VOD will be up on YouTube at some point as well. Again, you can find links in our bio. You gone, Kurt?
No, I just want to thank y'all. And if you have any questions too, don't be afraid to talk. And what I love is you guys are so interactive, and thank you for that. It's a lot of fun bouncing ideas off of each other and letting you guys be part of the process. It's awesome. It's fun.
Awesome. All right. Goodbye, guys. Thank you. Take it easy.
Thanks, guys.